Okay, so you've got your dartboard up, you've got your Autodarts ring on, all of the cameras have been plugged into your computer. You're almost ready to go. Honestly, there's only like one more step and then you're ready to play. I'll just reboot this computer. Let's pretend like I'm in the same situation you're in. So if you bought a computer from me, thank you. If you bought a computer from me, I set it up with Ubuntu, which is Linux, and that means it uses fewer resources. You can have a lower powered computer and still get all of the benefits that you would need, have plenty of room to be able to play Autodarts, do some basic stuff on there in case you ever wanted to customize it. So if you bought one from me, great, thank you, and I appreciate it. But whenever I configure these, I set them so that as soon as the computer boots up, it's immediately going to launch into the Autodarts website to say, hey, let's log in, let's get playing. So right now mine, it already had my credentials saved, so it signed me right in. I'm going to pretend like we've got, like I'm logged out. Okay, I just want to call it out. So if you're a tinkerer, you're just like me, great. I just wanted to call it out that in the sign in for Autodarts, if you have not already created your account, when you're signing in, it's actually best, if you do want to tinker and add some of these community extensions down the road, it's best to have a username and password when you're logging in. I say that because if you use the option that is to log in with Google, that actually might hurt you down the way as you're doing some of these customizations, because some of these other apps, they want to get back into your Autodarts accounts. They can't do that with Google. They don't support that. So username and password is ideal if you want to tinker down the road. For simplicity's sake, if you're not planning on tinkering, you just want to play Autodarts as it is, as it ships, still a great piece of software. You don't need the customization, fine. Username and password or Google, either one is perfectly fine. Just get logged in. Once you are signed in, this is going to be what you see at the Autodarts homepage. You have all of the different types of games that you can play. And on the left side, I'm going to show you here where it says My Boards. The My Board section, you can have up to 5 Autodarts dartboards tied to a single Autodarts account. So for example, on mine, it shows that I've already got 5. So I don't see the option up here, but I'm going to get rid of one of these because we're going to go through this together. So if I go to my demo board here on the cog wheel, I can delete this board. Are you sure? Yes, I'm going to delete the demo board. So when you get to your My Darts or My Board section, this is what you will see. You'll see probably no dartboard sitting there waiting for you, but you will see in the upper right-hand corner the option that says Register Board. Register board, pick whatever board name you want. This is free reign, name it whatever you want. Doesn't matter. I will just call out that whatever name you choose, it is publicly visible. So whenever you join a dartboard game with somebody else online, it will show your username and the name of the dartboard that you are playing on. So just keep that in mind, whatever name you pick here, it is not a private name. Other people will see this name. Maybe you want it that way. I don't think there's an option to hide it, so just keep that in mind whenever you are naming your board. You can name it whatever you want, and I'll just call this a demo board. When we say register, this is the one time it will show you the API key. Protect this like you protect your password. So this API key and board ID, don't close this window. So again, if you've bought a computer from me, again, thank you. You will see on the customization shortcuts that I have, the bookmarks that I have in Firefox, there's going to be a link that says Board Manager. And the way that I set it up is I do with Linux, where Autodarts loads in the background. There is no like desktop GUI app for you to use. It runs it as though it's like a website. So it's running locally, sitting on your computer. This uses the least amount of resources possible, still the same experience, and personally I think it's a little more stable. So if you go to the page for Boards Manager. And just to refresh, that is 127.0.0.1 and then a colon port 3180. So that will take you to the home page for Autodarts if you have it installed as a background service. If you are watching this video and you have Windows or Mac or some other one where you do have the desktop GUI interface, launch that, because this process is very similar whether you're doing it this way or that way. Launch that desktop application. As it's asking you to calibrate your cameras or add that board ID, that's over here on the config side. So it presented us with that board ID. We can come over here where it says board ID. So these little squares on the right hand side, if you just click that, that copies it to your clipboard. Click that and it's copied. So you can come over here to board ID, paste that in for your board ID, go back to that other page where it has API key. Same thing, click it to copy. Over here, paste it, or you can right click and say paste. Put your board ID in, put your API key in. As soon as you hit save, this board is now registered and linked to your Autodarts account. That is just allowing the software that's running on your computer to sign in and register those dart throws as you play people online. Simple as that. I'm going to refresh this without saving because I don't necessarily need another new dartboard on my account. The one that I play on here is actually this Ubu board. So on the Autodarts board, let's say you've got it saved, you got your board ID in, you got your API key in. If you hit start and all of the cameras don't just show and start showing your game, just go to the config and at the bottom right corner, hit the calibrate button. That I found is sometimes a little hiccup to where it doesn't start because it's never been calibrated before, which is also why I normally turn these settings on at the bottom for distortion, calibrate on camera change, calibrate on startup, so it just starts up and calibrates every single time. So just hit that calibrate button and you'll see the red triangle is these cameras saying, okay, that's where the 20 is, because all of them have to orient themselves for however you put it up on your dartboard. Again, one of them by the 6, one of them by the 11. It'll figure out the rest. Once it's been calibrated, you see that you have a stop and reset here. Those, they do come in handy. You're going to want to use those from time to time. If you ever notice that your darts are not quite registering as you thought that they should, or it lands and it completely says that you say you landed in a 2 and it thinks you landed over in a 13. That doesn't happen often, but if it does, all you have to do is tell the software here, click stop. You'll see the ring go from green to red around the dartboard. Tell it to start again. You're up and playing. Because one quick indicator of that is if you go to the Vision tab, it'll show you the live stream from all of these darts, from all of the cameras. It'll even show you the frame rates for each of them. Mine is set to 30, 30, 30, 30 frames per second for all of them. If you notice that your computer might be a little bit older or a little bit slower and it's not quite keeping up, that is something you can adjust on the config page for the camera resolution, and this is something that applies to all of the cameras at once. You can try for either a lower resolution or preferably just do a slightly slower frame rate. That's less data coming in for your computer to have to churn through. So again, if you notice that your darts are landing and it's not quite tracking as it should, if you come over to Vision, what I've personally noticed has happened, at least on my setup, yours may be different, but what I've noticed on mine is you'll have 2 cameras that are showing, 1 camera that is black. The game will keep playing, the software keeps running, it keeps trying to measure where your darts land, but it's only doing it with 2 out of the 3 cameras. So just tell it to stop, tell it to start again. Typically all the cameras come back up. Like most anything in technology, turn it off and turn it back on again. Thankfully, in this software, all I have to do is stop and start it again. If you're in the middle of a game online, if you're playing against some buddies, whatever you're doing, you can hit stop and start on this software. Keep going. You don't have to leave the match and come back in just because you've stopped the software that your dartboard is watching for those darts. So that part is great. So after you have that set, honestly, you're good to go. You now have a dartboard showing in your list of my boards. You can go and click play. And just as a example, I'm going to show you, I'm going to click play for the X01. I'll choose that I want to play the 501 variant, do straight, because I'm not good enough to play doubles or master. And I'm going to make this a private lobby. That means as soon as I start this match, people from the internet can't just show up to my game. So it's not like other matchmakings on the internet that if you're starting a lobby, others can join it if you have it as a public lobby. Because there will be people out there just sitting waiting for somebody else to start a game or just whatever. I personally usually just do private because I usually just play locally with me and my friends, family, or play against the computer. So I'm going to start a private lobby. Once I say open lobby, like I said, it's going to show your username, it'll show your country, it'll show your current average. In this particular game, I'm running at about a 35. Not great, like I said, whatever. But it also shows the board name. So that board name that you picked, it's going to show in this column here of what board are you playing on. So if you've played with other people locally, if you want to play with anybody, you could just say, I want to play with Jim, and hit plus. And now Jim is a local player on my board. He is playing via the Ubu board, via the Zach Bowman accounts, but it'll just be a local account that's only on my board. He doesn't have to have an Autodarts account, but whenever you're playing, it will show one name versus the other of whose turn is it. I've never tried to see just how many people you can have in here, but I think I've had up to 6 or 7 at once, and the scoring gets a little small because of how many people are sitting on the screen, but it works just fine. So you can add another player locally. You can also click add bot, and all of the levels of the bot are there for you. It'll tell you what the points per round are for X01. You know, this is on average how many points it'll score, but it is it's not definitive. Like if you set level 2 of a points per round of 30, that bot might have a few rounds where it hits 100. It happens. We all do it. Same thing if you're playing cricket. It will show you this person is or this bot is capable of hitting about 1 point per round or 1.5 or whatever. So you pick your bot, pick your level, you'll show what are up there to play, hit start game, and you're ready to go. It shows a highlight of who's up, who's next. It shows on the green how many legs you've won. So if this is first to 3, it'll show 1, 2 on the number of matches or legs that person has won. In the bottom, you're going to see here there's 3 darts to be thrown. And so on those 3 darts to be thrown, I'll just toss one up here past my camera. As soon as you throw it, it'll show you that hit a single 18. Another one, triple 18. That one, single 1. Now, for example, if you do have that rare occasion where the dart lands and it doesn't quite register, all you need to do is, let's pretend like that single 1 is actually another 18. You can click the score that you're trying to adjust. It shows it as a orange rectangle there, and then in the dartboard just click, and it doesn't have to be exact, you're just looking for the score. So it can be a single 18, or if it's a single 20. Every time you click, it's going to change the score to match where it is you clicked. Hit OK, it will update your score accordingly. Or hit undo is another way to take the score off and throw again. Now, all of these cameras, they're constantly watching the board. The other thing they're doing, they're watching to see, hey, did some hands just come in and grab the darts? So around the outside edge, you're going to see that it's all green, saying it's ready to watch for that dart. But you'll notice that as I reach in to grab these darts, that's going to go yellow. So that is saying takeout detected. That means it detects that there's some hands in there grabbing the darts. Now, once I've pulled my hands back out, it triggers to automatically go to the next person. So you don't have to do anything to make it move to the next person. Every once in a while, I have noticed that sometimes it doesn't go to the next person. All you have to do, just click the next button, and then that forces it to go to the next person. So if your takeout events doesn't actually register, that's fine. Click the next, off it goes to the next person. If you are playing a bot, I'll just take these darts out so it'll move off to the bot. And this is, again, this is just one of those events. I grabbed them, but it still thinks that a takeout event is happening for whatever reason. I'm just going to click next. Now it's playing with the bot. The bot is going to register whatever throws it's doing. And you'll be able to see, since we do have one round of darts in, now down below your name, it'll show how your score is doing overall through all of the legs and individually through this leg. As you get down closer to the end where it's saying, you know, hey, you need 105 points to win, you will notice that the numbers, instead of just showing a picture of a dart, or instead of just showing a picture of a dart, it's going to show numbers or potential scores. It'll be like italic. They'll be kind of a different color, but that's your checkout guide. That's going to show you, if you hit these, you're going to get the score that you wanted so that you can win this game. So it's going to have a live checkout guide. Every time you throw, it's going to recalculate and tell you, if you can check out, here's how you do it. Here's the numbers that you're going to hit to win the game. So that's a really nice feature. I had mentioned before about having to stop and start the game. If you don't want to switch tabs and go all the way through to see, you know, on the cameras, did one stop or not? If you just want to reset it, at the top, there is the stop. Stop here, you'll see the ring go red to say, hey, it's not watching for darts, don't throw. Click start again, off it goes. So it's literally a 2 to 3 second thing to stop and start the event. If you ever notice that it's showing yellow as it thinks that a takeout is still happening with hands in there, but nobody's in there, all you have to do is hit reset, and that sets it to say, oh, it's ready to watch for darts again. It will go back to green. Now that person can throw. So that is kind of a new user training experience, is to watch the color that is showing around that dartboard ring. That color is important because it tells you, is it time to throw? Is it green? Any other color? No. Right next to the reset button, there is a calibrate button. So in case you've seen that your darts, if you suspect that regardless of the stop-start events, it's just off and it needs to do a calibration again, maybe you bumped it or bumped the board, just hit the calibrate button. Everything will go purple around the outside. It'll go back to green when it's done, but the calibration, it's maybe a 4 to 5 second event. They're all very quick at what they're doing, even on a slower old computer. So that's the awesome parts. If you do want to change some things up for how the dartboard looks at the bottom, towards the top here, there are 3 options. There's one where it just shows you all of the possible scores. So here is, 1 through 20, or is it a double 20 or a triple 20? Hopefully we get more triple 20s than the doubles, but that's one way to do your scoring. So in case you have a correction and you don't care about the looks of the board underneath, this is a little faster way to do those scores and corrections. And there's one with a play button. That one will actually be live. So what that does is that actually shows the actual dart that you just threw. Where did it register on the board? This view is pretty cool because if you're playing someone online, you can actually see their darts land, and it shows you as they play where did their darts land. It shows you just what you're seeing here. It'll show you the board, the darts. It makes it a little bit more accountable to show that, yeah, that person really is, the darts are hitting where they say they're hitting. So those are the three views that go in there. A couple of the other options here, if you hit this gear, there is the checkout guide. You can say if you don't want to see that checkout guide, you can have the counts. It shows all of the other options there. It does have a viewer count because if you want the URL for this match, you can share that with friends or family. They can watch remotely. They would see this same interface to be able to watch your match. So it can give you a counter of how many people are watching. At the bottom here is to call out scores or to call checkouts, to say whenever it's your turn, it could tell you what your checkout guide should be. Same thing as you score as soon as you play, call out the scores or not. Personally, I don't use those because I use something else, and I can get into that in another video. But those are some of the basic options for how you can kind of tweak and tune this game. There's a lot more that you can do with it. I'm going to put that stuff in the next video, but for now, you're up and running. You're playing Autodarts. You didn't spend thousands of dollars on a Viper or a Scolia system, so good on you. Let's go play.